Assalamu alaikum all. Today I am going to be talking about buying £5 coffee versus investing £5. Now, a lot of people talk about buying coffee and how expensive it is. And, my sort of hot beverage of choice is a carrot chai, which I think for the past few years have been going crazy in London. Like, there's loads of places that have sprang up that are selling it. There's like a big chain called Chai Walla, another one, Non-Stop, which has been really good actually. They do good naans there as well. And it's like this sweet cardamom-y, milky kind of tea. And yeah, it's probably not healthy, but I only have it once in a while, but it's really nice. I really love that. But in the UK, like we've got Costa, which is very famous, Starbucks, I'm sure a lot of you heard of. I know Tim Hortons in Canada, also in the UK, starting to open up. McDonald's as well with their Mac Cafe. They spend money. They have these coffees that cost, I don't know, £3, £4, £5. And it may seem like that's a waste of money. Why am I buying coffee? Why can't I just make coffee myself at home? And is it not better just to invest that £5? However, there's a deeper meaning to this question, and that's something I want to kind of dig into in this episode of Simple Muslim Money, and we're going to go into it. But first of all, just want to say for everyone new here, welcome to Simple Muslim Money, which is all about simple halal investing and personal finance for Muslims. Now, just a quick disclaimer out there, everything I say is just for information and entertainment purposes. It's not investing advice. So now let's get into buying coffee. Now, if you walk past any Starbucks, Costa, anything like that in a city centre, probably around like most sort of countries, you find like a big queue of people wanting to buy their morning sort of caffeine hit. So that's a coffee or whatever it is. In the UK, now Costas have just increased massively. They seem to be everywhere at the moment. Now, the price of coffee is, can vary, but you're looking at something like Americano, which is like your standard sort of American coffee. It's about $3.50 from Costa. So I was just looking at the prices in Costa. A flat white is £3.80. I don't know that much of what a flat white is. I believe it started in Australia somewhere, but that's another popular one. And, buying this every day can add up. So, you're looking about 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, like 18, 20 pounds a week, something like that, if you're buying coffee that. But those are just your standard coffees. If you're buying something a bit more extravagant, then you're looking about £4 or £5. And, if you scale it out to a month, to a year, we're talking about quite a bit of money. Now, why don't you just make coffee at home? And Graham Stephan, who's like another really good sort of personal finance YouTuber, he talks about he's got this 20 cent coffee brand. So, 20 cent or about 20p. Making coffee at home is so much cheaper. But why do people go out to buy coffee? And, a lot of the reasons is because of just the experience and the convenience, especially if you're working in an office. I work in an office. I know what it's like. I'm in the office. I just want a bit of a break. Just wanted something, a little treat for myself in the morning. And, it's very easy just to go to these nice coffee shops that are really they got this nice kind of homely feel about them. And yeah, that's a good question, actually. I'm always interested about how they go about designing their coffee shops. They always kind of look really nice and comfortable and homely. So that's very interesting. And there's lots of different types of coffees when you go to a place like that, Costa, Starbucks, or what have you. And you get to try different sort of coffees. And should we not just save that money instead? Okay, even though it is a bit of a treat, but our brain's thinking, we're buying this coffee, we're getting a bit of pleasure for it, but is it actually worth it? And I think the key thing here is, and this is something that came up to me from watching Ramit Sethi podcast, was that are we focusing on the right thing? Saving money on coffee, even though it could add up over the course of a week, a month, a year, or what have you. But this also applies to other things like eating out as well. Should we also be thinking about why are we eating out for? Because why don't we just invest that money? Now, first thing I want to talk about is is to not focus on the £5 questions, but to focus on the £100,000 questions. So like the really big questions that come up into investing. And what does this actually mean? So rather than spending time thinking about saving £5 here, the odd pound here, the pound there, but why don't we think about a wider kind of investments, a wider personal finance that's going to really give us like massive bang for buck. So these are things like setting up an investment account, sorting out our pensions, building up our knowledge of money. This things like that will cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars if we don't, kind of work on those as soon as possible. And this is something Ramit Sethi talks about, and I've definitely kind of pinched this idea from him, and it's something that just makes so much sense. So how can we actually apply this in practice? So rather than focusing on your £5 coffee, should I buy it or not buy it? How about setting up an investment account and actually start investing some money and kind of learning about the process? And I've talked a lot about on this channel Islamic index funds, which is what I invest probably most of my money into without even thinking about it. It's really simple, really kind of automated. I just kind of set it and forget it. I also have my pensions kind of invested that in as well. So it's all about spending that time to kind of understand pensions a bit and how that works. And they're actually not that complicated. There's a lot of kind of like woo-woo out there and like loads of buzzwords and stuff like that. But just get it up and running and kind of working on that. So, but then when we come back to the coffee, then should I not be buying coffee? Should I be investing? Now, this is what it comes down to: is how much joy does that £5 bring you? Now, if I thought it was worth it to spend £5 a day on a coffee when I'm at work and stuff, then yeah, go ahead, do that. I don't think, in the long term of things, it's going to make that much, difference if I do that, as long as I am also doing the other stuff as well, which is setting up my investment accounts, trying to look at my pensions and things like that, then, it's not too bad. But, I need to be aware of where I'm spending my money. So if I'm spending that money willy-nilly and not aware of it, I think that's another kind of key thing to kind of be aware of. But if I'm spending money on coffee that I actually enjoy, and I'm going to work, I go out, it gives me the benefit of going out, having a little treat for myself during the day, and that can be very valuable, and that is something that I might consider, is worth doing. And it's totally fine to do that. I don't want people to feel guilty about buying coffee or anything like that. That's something I do sometimes. I go out, I get myself a little, I don't know, I buy like a bag of nuts or buy one of these sort of healthy-ish sort of bars. There's these bars called Naked that are really nice. They have like nuts and fruit and all this sort of stuff. I just go out and just buy one of those. I could save money and potentially, not buy it, or bring some food in from home. But I like the fact of going out, popping into the shop, buying it, and then coming back. So it can totally be worth it. So yeah, so that's the key thing really I want to talk about in this video. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, really appreciate it if you smash that like button, and thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum.